I'm Helen and I'm the helpline manager for Ostomy Lifestyle. I'm going to use the anatomical apron to explain how our digestive and urinary systems work and how stoma surgery is performed. When we eat and drink, the food and drink travels down from our mouths, down the pipe that leads from the back of our mouth, down through our throat, which is our esophagus or our gullet, into this organ here, which is our stomach. Your stomach is about the size of your clenched fist when it's not doing anything, but obviously it expands when we eat to accommodate the food we've eaten. Your stomach's job is to break the food that you've eaten down into a kind of a mush. So the stomach really is just a big acid bath. Once the stomach's done that, it passes that mush into this very long structure in the middle, which is your small intestine. And your small intestine is the really important bit of your digestive system. It's where all the absorption of your vitamins, minerals and nutrients happens. So it's a really crucial bit. Once your small intestine's done that job, it passes what's left, which is kind of the physical matter of the food you've eaten, plus lots of the fluid that you've drunk, into this structure here, which is your large intestine or your colon. This little bit hanging off the beginning of your large intestine is your appendix, which doesn't really do very much. I think the best way to think of your large intestine is like a tumble dryer. When the food waste enters the large intestine, it's quite full of moisture, and the large intestine's job is to reabsorb that moisture into your bloodstream. So as the poo moves along, it becomes gradually more and more formed. So it travels up, across and down, and into your rectum, which is in your bottom. And this is where you start to get the sensation that you need to go to the toilet. And when you're ready, the poo exits your body via the natural opening in your bottom, which is your anus. So that's how your digestive system should work in an ideal world. If there were to be a problem in part of your colon, for instance, let's take the rectum as an example, a surgeon may need to remove it. So an example of why this might be the case would be something like rectal cancer. So in this scenario, I'm going to show you how the surgeon would open you up so he can see what's what, and cut through the bowel above and below where the problem is. And that affected portion of bowel will be removed. Now this bit here is the end of the system. So everything else in the body is still doing its original job. It's just that the journey ends a little bit sooner than it used to. And for various reasons, this can't be connected to the natural opening in your bottom. So what the doctors do instead is they create a new opening. And they do this by making an incision in your abdominal wall and pulling that piece of colon out through that opening, like so. Then they sew you back up, put everything away again. And this bit of bowel, they turn back on itself and stitch it down to secure it. This is called a stoma or ostomy. They both mean the same thing. And this particular type of ostomy is a colostomy because it's an opening from the colon. Normally, colostomies are on the left-hand side of your body, and you would normally wear a closed bag to collect your waste from your colostomy. If I take another example, let's imagine that the whole of the colon is diseased and needs to be removed. Or perhaps a portion of it has been removed and they want to give the bowel a rest while it heals. In these scenarios, they might perform an ileostomy operation. So the end of your small intestine is referred to as the ileum. So the ileum is where the small and large intestine meet, and to create an ileostomy, they would separate the small and large intestine and bring out the end of the small intestine as a stoma, just like before, except this time, normally, it's on the right-hand side of the body. And normally, you'd wear a drainable bag over that because what's coming out of an ileostomy has a higher water content than what comes out of a colostomy because it hasn't been tumble dried yet. So you'd empty your ileostomy bag a little bit more often. Your urinary system is made up of your kidneys, your ureters and your bladder. Your kidneys aren't really in this position. Your kidneys in your body are down here in your back, one either side. Your kidneys are really hard-working organs. They're your blood cleaners. All the blood in your body regularly passes through your kidneys and is cleaned. The good blood gets put back into circulation, and anything the kidneys find in the blood that they don't like, they'll put into water to form urine. So your kidney's job is to clean your blood and create your wee. The urine drains away from the kidneys down these two tubes, your ureters, one from each kidney, and carries the urine into your urinary bladder, which is a stretchy sac that can hold about a pint of liquid. When you're ready to go for a wee, the urine exits your body via the natural opening, which is your urethra. If there were a situation that required your bladder to be removed, most commonly something like bladder cancer, the surgeon would separate the bladder from the ureters. And you might think the obvious thing to do would be to bring the ureters out to the surface to drain the urine away. However, they're a bit small and they're not really very good for that job. So what they do instead is they borrow a segment of small intestine, a piece of your ileum. They sew it up at one end and this other end is open. So the kidneys continue to produce the urine as before, which drains down along the ureters and into this channel. And that open end is then brought out as a stoma on your abdominal wall. And this is called a urostomy because it's an ostomy, opening for urine. Most commonly, it's on the right-hand side of your body, and that's simply because your right-hand ureter is just slightly shorter. If there were a good reason to, you could have your urostomy on the left-hand side. You would wear a bag with a drainable tap at the bottom to drain the urine out of your bag as and when you need to.